Hi guys. I think we're live. I think we are. SG can't wait for this 3 hour chat about SCFC. Mate, to be honest, I'm absolutely exhausted. So I don't think you might not even get the usual amount of time tonight. Good old hour on a Sunday evening of sort of chatting nonsense about Sunderland. But yeah, there is as Ian Brown has just commented. Yes, there is so much to talk about. We have what looks like two imminent signings, and then well, hopefully a third one that rejects Saudi to come here by the looks of it. But we will get into all of this. I am very much sure. Yeah, my birthday came and passed, and we didn't get to 6K subscribers, which is disappointing, but not altogether surprising, I suppose. I mean, we gained a couple of extra subscribers, so I'm on 5,935 subscribers. So I guess the next target would be before the season starts, and we've immediately jumped from about what is it, 11 people watching to 37 people watching round about now. Probably fluctuate in the next however long, but yeah. So let's get through some comments because we're now starting to get there's usually a little bit of a slow burner for about a minute and then we start to get more comments on the board. Let's have a look. So if you see me yawn at any point, like yeah, I'm trying hard not to do it, but yeah, if you see it at any point, then you know that I'm absolutely shattered. And let me know, guys, obviously as usual, if you can hear me properly and efficiently enough. So let's get through some comments. So we have Thin the call says hello all. SG2 signings. Yep, it looks like it. Edwin Little says, "Hi, Mickey, mate. Hello there, my friend." Coffee Goblin, and I still love that name. Still absolutely love that name, mate. Evening Bowers signed Reynaldo. Is it Reynaldo? I think is how you say that. Um, let's see, and then, but yeah, now we need a mercy. Ryan, hello, how you doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're well as too. Well, mate. We'll try again. Bill Bainbridge, good evening, Mike. I hope you're well, mate. How are you feeling about the new left back? I will talk on the transfers very, very shortly. Then Diarra and Reynaldo are two cracking signings. Very good start the window. Bulker would be great, but if it falls through, I'll not lose sleep over it. SJ, hope we're not boring you. That no, it's nothing to do with you boring me. I've just been shattered all day. Cape Vader says, many happy returns, belated, Mr. Bowles. Thank you very much. It was on Wednesday, my birthday, so I had a really, really good day. Just basically just meeting up with a couple of the lads and having a meal. I went to Port of Call in Sunderland actually, which is a really really nice place for food. And then we went into the Cooper Rolls just for a few pints afterwards. I mean, I don't drink. I drank a few pints of Pepsi Max for me, but like, no, it was really good. It was really good. Let's have a look. What else is there? Jim, hey evening. Hello there, Jim. Hopefully you're doing all right. Let's see. Ian Brown. Vieira said Habib Diarra doesn't have a good attitude in the changing room. That was 2 years ago when he said that, so hopefully he's matured. Well, the way I look at it is I think Reggie Slippery's does have a good bit of a say in terms of signings, in terms of what type of people he wants. And if he didn't have a bad attitude, I'd like to think we wouldn't have gone for him. So yeah, we'll wait and see with that one. SJ Bulker wants to play in the desert in front of the goats and sheep for a bag of gold. Well, if he chooses Saudi, then not wrong. Robert Foster, hello everybody. Hope you are well, Michael. I am not doing too badly. Thanks very much for the party things, Ian. Edwin, weather hot. Don't blame you, Michael. I love it. Dis Allison, disillusioned. Oh, I keep getting this wrong. Getting these names wrong. Hope all as well. Yeah, hopefully you're well. Apart from the fact I've just completely butchered your name. Then Vieira only says that because he failed at Strasbourg, whereas Rossini was the right fit for a young manager, similar to Libris here. Interesting shout. Anthony Diarra and Reynaldo signing for Sunderland. Leeds must be really hating us right now. Yeah. And actually, Jim, following up on that, I'm skipping a couple of comments ahead, but it says Jin. Why did I say Jin? Like Qui-Gon Jinn from Star Wars. Jim says to say Leeds upset about Diarra is an understatement. SJ Riera seems bitter for Leeds' behalf. Like it. Colin Major, they will be great signings, but the only thing to worry about is whether they would settle in this country. By the way, good evening, Michael. Yep, good evening to you too, my friend Colin. And Ranks, hi Michael, are you riding this transfer high too? Not just the here we go stuff, but also the rumours. My head is spinning, but is that hope that I feel? Well, yeah, we'll wait and see, won't we? But yeah, no, it's definitely everything's going all over the place in my head at the minute. I think for all the transfer stuff, it's a lot to try and keep up with. Obviously, I mean, as Bill Bainbridge says, I wish we'd hurry up and announce the new director of football. Well, yeah, I mean, we've got Ghisolfi from, I think that's how you say the name, from Roma, effectively. I mean, it hasn't been officially announced yet, but I think it might be on gardening leave, I think. So, I mean, but it doesn't mean he won't be, it doesn't mean he won't be working behind the scenes. But yeah, I would wish we'd hurry up and announce it as well. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Thing. Beat Forest and Palace for Reynaldo as well. This ambitious project is definitely exciting and appealing. Ian Brown. Trafford said Hawaii instead of Hawaii. We spoke to Elliot Anderson, so that might be another signing took from the Max. Yeah, I very much doubt that, but it would be lovely to have James Trafford. Burnley would be stupid to sell to us, though. Ryan, we beat Leeds and Nottingham Forest for the signing of Mandava. Maybe. Well, we'll wait and see. Paul Robinson. I'm a bit annoyed at new club sponsor, though. Well, there you go. I'm trying hard not to yawn on camera, but there you go. Personally, the sponsor thing doesn't really bother me. I think I'm more bothered how the team does in the kit rather than anything else. Yes, I'm one of those Yadars type people, but yeah, I mean, if you refer to WA8, I know quite a few people aren't keen on them, apparently. SJ, smashing our transfer record twice has given fans hope, but we've only spent what we sold, really, didn't we? Well, if you look at it that way, I mean, Diarra cost, what was it, 35 million euros? So to be fair, that's what, 30 million quid. And we got that roughly from a, well, when you take out, if you don't include the add-ons for Joe Bellingham and you take out the 15% we owe Birmingham, then we made about 35 million quid, or just under 34 million quid under, just roughly for Watson and for Job. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, I think, as SJ has said, pretty much, we're kind of spending already what we've accumulated. I mean, I know obviously on PSR accounts, what we pay will go over the next however many years, the length of their contract. But in terms of the fees, in principle, yes, we will pretty much be spending what we've accumulated. So we should still be well in the black in terms of, being able to go out and invest. So we'll wait and see. Hello, Acacia. How you doing? Jim says, I read Leeds offered to match Diarra fee. Don't tell Leeds fans that. But he turned them down for in Sunderland. So Ian Brown. Ghisolfi doesn't need to be announced yet, as we know tell he's having his say at the club. Yep, I think that's fair. Hello, Doug. How are you doing, my friend? Hi, Michael. Yeah, good, great guy who does his own channel. He's a Liverpool fan, but has been very supportive of my channel for ages. He says, hi, Michael. You're giving it a real go in the transfer market. Yeah, well, so are you. Please sign Isaac. Yeah, I doubt that'll happen, to be honest, but we'll see. But yeah, no, it looks like we are giving it a good go for a promoted side. Almost like we're actually massive and we're not just saying that, but there you go. But we'll wait and see. Obviously, not every signing we're going to go for is going to come off, but if enough of them come off, then we've got a chance, hopefully. Then, hopefully, Vannet, Lorente, and Guendouzi next. And Bulka, if he sees sense. He must. Guendouzi apparently isn't keen on leaving Lazio, from what I've heard, so I don't know. That could be inaccurate, but we'll wait and see. Let's have a look. Anthony, talking to Paul, it will be only one season. Being across as the last season, you can be sponsored by a gambling company in the Prem. Acacia, I'm good. How about you? I'm just shattered. I'm just absolutely knackered. But yeah, thanks for asking, Acacia. It's appreciated. Ryan says, do you think Diarra is a perfect fit for Job, mate? It would appear so. I think, obviously, I don't look. I'm not going to confess to I haven't watched Diarra play. I've never once actually watched enough of him to make sense of what is strength. Goodness me, because I'm yawning at the same time, I can't talk. I don't know what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, how his game is, anything like that. It looks to me, from what I've heard of the description of him, that he seems to be like a box-to-box 8 player. If that's the case, that was pretty similar to what Job's role was. So, in principle, yeah, it seems to be a good fit, but I need to actually watch him properly before I make that proper judgment for myself. But in principle, on paper at the minute, Ryan, yeah, I'd say so. Personally, I think Diarra is like an upgrade on Rig rather than like replacement for Job. What makes you say that? What makes you? Because I see Rig as more of a 10, and to me, Lafay is a 10. So we'll wait and see. Let's have a look. What else is there? Paul Robinson, aren't we 240 million on Watson deal? Well, apparently the 220 odd million that kept on being talked about included parachute payments if we got relegated, which it shouldn't really. It should be just the Premier League money, not including parachute payments. But hey ho, we definitely at the very least would have banked 100 to 150 million, I would imagine though. Robert Foster, they'll have to change the sponsor next year. If, when, I like that. When we stay in the Premier League, I like that. The rules for sponsorship have changed. Tom Hardy says, it sounds like saying Tom Hardy, the actor. Funny, I met with one of my friends today in the pub when we were talking about Tom Hardy, but we were talking about him in The Dark Knight Rises, funnily enough. But anyway, Tom Hardy says, hi, Michael. Earlier in the window, we were linked with Wilfred Singo from Monaco. Looks a quality centre-back. Would it still be worth a punt? Could be pricey, though. If he's good, yes, absolutely. It just all depends on the fee, doesn't it? And depends on what his wage demands would be. Then, the fact that Leeds fans think they're bigger than us is hilarious. Yeah. I mean, quickly on the Leeds Sunderland thing, because I've got into a couple of arguments with a couple of Leeds fans on social media over the last few days. And shout out to one Leeds fan channel, one Leeds who's Conor McGilligan, who has two channels. He does his second channel, Conor McGilligan, talking more of a neutral, and then one talking about one Leeds, which is his main channel, which obviously talking about Leeds since he's a Leeds fan. The main thing I've got back from Leeds fans why they think they're bigger than us is because they seem to see more Leeds shirts abroad, and have more fans. But what they don't mention is that Leeds' population is at least 3 times, if not 4 times, the population of Sunderland. So if they didn't have more Leeds fans, I think that would be a little bit concerning. So I think that doesn't play into it as much as far as I'm concerned. But having said that, as Thane said there, Sunderland have won more major trophies, spent more seasons in the top flight of English football than Leeds have. And if you look at the last 21 seasons, Leeds have spent 3 seasons of 21 in the top flight, not including the one coming up, obviously. But as of right now, as of June 2025, they've only spent 3 years out of the last 21 in the top flight, whereas Sunderland have spent 11 years. It's a pretty big difference. Now, I'm not saying Leeds aren't massive, by the way, because they are. But I don't buy this idea that they're bigger than Sunderland. I just don't. But that's just my own opinion. That's just my own viewpoint. I can to some degree maybe see how people could say Leeds are bigger than us, but I do think that people who are saying Leeds are bigger than us, I think there might be a bit of recency bias given the way we've been the last few years. In general, Sunderland have been higher than Leeds. I know Leeds were in the semi-finals of the Champions League, I think it was, or they did really well in the Champions League about 20 or so years ago. But that aside, in more recent times, since the turn of the 2000s, Sunderland have generally done better than Leeds. But obviously, you can't just base it all off that. I do get that. There's arguments for both, but I genuinely think Sunderland are bigger than Leeds. And I don't think that opinion should be scoffed at either. Will Allen says, Fabrizio Romano said one more major signing, but is that enough with squad depth in the Premier League? Where's he said that, Will? If you don't mind, just because, I mean, it might be that he's tweeted it and I've just not seen it being on here, but, I'll have a look and see what there is. Ian Brown, Cresswell from Toulouse would be a rock with Ballard at the back. I'd agree with that. SJ Rigg is a different player. Then Diarra is someone that is attack-minded but can play deeper as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we give him the Dan Neil treatment, where we he's mainly attack-minded, but he can play in the sort of a deeper type of role like what Job did. Because remember, Lafay is going to be in the number 10, isn't he? Ian, Reynaldo is on 65 grand. Are we sure that means he starts over Cirkin if he's earning that money? Yeah, well, I think personally, when you look at Cirkin, one of the reasons I think if I had to pick one fullback that I would have wanted to have strengthening in, it probably would have been left back just because of the fitness thing with Cirkin. And I think I've got a gut feeling I think Hume will step up to the Premier League. I might be wrong, by the way. It's just based on a gut feeling. I do think that Hume will step up to the top flight, but we'll wait and see. But Reynaldo, I mean, apparently Real Madrid. Sorry, not Real Madrid. I'm sorry, Atletico Madrid fans are disappointed that he's going. So I would suspect that hopefully this, and apparently we beat a lot of Prem clubs to his signature. So we'll see how that pans out, really. But it's a sensible one on a free transfer. I know his wages will be extortionate, but like for what we've paid before. But you've got to pay for these type of players if you want to stay in the Premier League and hopefully permanently re-establish ourselves in there, because that's what Sunderland should be looking to do realistically. SJ, don't think Romano meant just one more signing. I hope not. Hope not. Coffee Gum, this financial window will include Stewart, Clark, Watson and Job fees. It won't include Stewart. That was the year before. That was August 2023. But it will include Watson, Job and Clark. So I think that this year, 24-25 financial year, unless there's been significant costs with the club, running the club that we don't know about, we should be in massive profit this coming year. So that'll hopefully help us with PSR down the line over the next couple of seasons, as long as we don't do too ridiculous this year, obviously. Jim, Diarra's more physicality and strength over Job at the minute, so an upgrade to the team, hopefully. Then, apparently Diarra is on 70k a week. Some people, SJ, some people reading too much into that comment. Which comment are you on about, mate? Are you referring to the one with Fabrizio Romano when he does the eyes and winking emojis, replying to someone saying we've agreed a fee? I don't know. I could be reading into that. I could be reading too much into that. Anthony, they're going as if someone beat them in the 1973 FA Cup. Well, hi, that's probably true. Jazraz Ramataz, love that name still. Hello, lads and lasses. Hope you're doing well. Ian Willova, we are taking Mags and Leeds signings. Well, hopefully, because then it means they should be good. Then, Sunderland were already 5-time champions of England before Leeds were even formed. Leeds didn't become big until the 60s and 70s. Phil Peacock, hi Michael. Do you see any more outgoings from us? How many more signings would you be happy with to have a good go at the Prem? Do I see any more outgoings? I'm guessing you mean incomings there, but I will say but for the minute of outgoings, I would say outgoings. I see Ekwa going, I see Aushish going, Bar going, Russia going, Pembele going. I'm trying to think who else is there. I could see Brown leaving, maybe on loan, and I think loan would make sense just to make sure that if we do get relegated, we've got a contingency plan, because I think he's a handy squad player in the Championship, so I wouldn't be so keen to quickly sell him. But I think for me, that's got Preston written all over that, to be honest. Preston, going back to Preston on loan. But I'd say that. As for how many more signings would I be happy with? I think personally, right, if we've got Reynaldo and Diarra at the minute, I'd say goalkeeper ideally, but there's other positions we need more than a goalkeeper, I think. But I would like an upgrade on Pat Ofakan. Centre back, right wing, left wing, and maybe a striker for the starting 11. But I'll say at least 4 for the starting 11, not including Reynaldo and Diarra. And obviously then you've got others for the squad. But just for the starting 11, I'd say at least another 4. They did say that. Glenn Jones, is Calvert-Lewin worth a look at? Let's see, Thane, ME2, definitely not made of glass. See, for free, I think you could do worse. But personally, for me, I'd rather we went for someone like Danny Welbeck. SJ, it's because of their finishing position in the Championship. They obviously think they're a barometer of how much further ahead they are. Right, okay. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, look, Leeds obviously were the best team in the league, really, and last season. And I know they only finished ahead of Burnley in terms of like on goal difference, but I do think if it weren't for Meslier being there, that they would have been I think they would have probably been even more clear. But Leeds and Burnley were definitely the 2 best teams in the Championship last season and deserve to finish in the top 2. But I don't think we're as far behind them 2 as what a lot of people think we are. I think we are a little way behind them. Obviously, if we signed some good players, then fair enough. But because remember, it was 24 points, but it was skewed heavily by the fact that we chucked in the last 6 games. And I think that gap closes by 10 points at least if we don't do that. But either way, we are still some way behind them. Will Allen tweeted it. About Fabrizio Romano. I'll have a look. Ian's, we fought off Leeds, Frankfurt, AC Milan for Habib. The chemistry between Speakman and Gizolfi is going well so far. Hopefully it continues to go well. Got over 100 people watching. Jesus Christ. Come on, guys. Let's get the likes up. Got 30 likes at the minute. Let's see if we can get to 50. That would be really, really nice. Tom Hardy says, it says all about Bulka going to Saudi and his ambition. Yep, I agree with that. It's not like he would have been on pennies here. Thane says, Diarra was Strasbourg's captain as well and only 21, so he's got leadership skills. And I believe he's got a couple of seasons of playing regularly, hasn't he? So it's just supposed to prove you don't have to be late 20s, early 30s to have experience. Apparently, Reynaldo has got a great attitude and used to watch Atletico Madrid Academy games. Could be a new fan favourite, hopefully. Brian Greener says, the way the signings are going, it looks like a 3-4-2-1 system, Michael. Maybe. It could be that, for all we know. Adam French, would you take Jack Clark back? Interesting one. I'd probably say no. I think we need to probably target a bit better. If we can't get better, however, the left wing, then yeah, I would. We could do a lot worse. Let's put it that way. We could do a lot worse. But I love Jack Clark as a player, obviously, as you all know. Coffee Goblin, don't think this Bulka thing is over. I think he might sign as well. Hopefully we get Singo as he looks rapid and strong. Fingers crossed. Then says Ahmed Lorente will be the new left winger eventually. Fingers crossed. That's the hope. Then if Trent is back to Scotland, Rangers want him now. And there was someone else saying, SJ, I'd ask for 5 million for Triantis. Let's start getting some money back. Dortmund says the same thing. 5+ mil if Rangers want him, in my opinion. Robert Foster, apparently Triantis is wanted by Rangers. I think he'd do quite well at Rangers, actually. Will Allen, apparently Echo had a good season on loan. Ian says, even though we have Habib and Lefay, Neil and Rig won't cut it in the Prem. There's still a massive hole in the core of the team. Rig right now probably might not. I don't know. I think you're being a bit harsh on Neil there. I don't know whether I would start Neil. If we can get better than Neil, then I would. But I think personally, sorry, I'm just a bit of an itchy ear. But no, I think if we can get better, I would. But I wouldn't be against Neil with a good player next to him starting in the Prem. But we'll see. Things says 2% of backs, midfielder, left wing, right wing, and a striker, and maybe a keeper. But yeah, it's not as important as other areas. Yeah, like I said, I would love to have all those as well. And obviously, I said the centre back, but obviously, I'm assuming that Ballard will stay fit, and we can't count on that, can we? So, unfortunately, as much as we love him, Ranks 39 says, I'd love us to give Triantis a look in. And Harvey925 says, all right, Michael, mate, do you think the Bulka saga will be solved by Fabrizio today? Probably not. I'd be surprised if it is. I'll just have a quick look on Twitter to see if there's anything that's come through, but I don't think there will have been. Let's have a quick check. Doesn't seem to be. Kind of seem to be finding anything else. Ryan, have you heard we're interested in Ahmad's brother? Yes, I have. Oh, okay. Well, it's not relevant to us, but I suppose some people in here will find it a bit amusing. João Pedro's going to Chelsea by the looks of it. So, yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. Right, okay. Let's see. Ryan, have you heard that we are interested in Ahmad's brother? Well, apparently, as Coffee Goblin says, it's not his brother. Read his wiki. Well, the only thing I'll say, Coffee Goblin, is anyone can edit wiki to do whatever they want. But apparently, I've heard they're not blood related, I don't think, but I could be wrong on that. Correct as either of you if I'm wrong. Ian, I like Neil, but I think there's a player who can come off the bench and make the same impact, same with Roberts. Fair enough. Thane, Singo, and maybe that Georgian centre back from Empoli would be decent. Even Celtic Car from Lyon for experience. SJ, I would definitely look to keep looking for a keeper, as I don't think Patterson is ready for this league. No, I mean, like I said, I would like to have an upgrade on him if we can. Adam French, do we need a backup for Patrick Roberts? I think we need Patrick Roberts to be backup. I think we need someone who's better than him, to be honest. Coffee Goblin, next week, do you think we're releasing the away kit? Could see it being announced early next week and released Friday, possibly. Colin Midge, do you think 09 will still be here at the start of the season, and do you think he'll be good enough for the Premiership? No, for the latter question. Yes, for the first one. I think he'll be quite handy for the dressing room, even if he's not playing as regularly as he'd like. But hey, I said he wouldn't step up to the Championship, and he did. But the difference is the jump is bigger now, and that's the huge difference. Huge. Sorry, to move the bag here. The huge difference now between Championship to Prem as opposed to League One to Championship. Hello, Paul Graham. Hope you're doing all right. Then 09 backup in cup games. Then Hamid Traore is a very good player. Definitely wouldn't say no. SJ 09 definitely will not be good enough. Yeah, no, I don't think he will be either. I'd love him to prove us wrong, but I'd be very surprised if he is good enough. Right, let's quickly talk about the two signings that looks like are pretty much happening ever since I last spoke on here, which obviously was, it was last Sunday, wasn't it? I keep forgetting. So I think personally, right, let's quickly start with Reynaldo. Is that how you pronounce it? Obviously, it's a left back for free from Atletico Madrid. Apparently, we're paying 65k a week for that. So I think from the fact that Atletico Madrid fans seem gutted that he's going, I think is a good thing. I think it looks like that they really wanted to keep him. And there was a number of clubs that apparently were interested in him, such as, if you believe reports, it was Nottingham Forest, who are in Europe. Crystal Palace, same, who are in Europe. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he does here. But I think the fact we've beaten a lot, I mean, obviously I know some clubs might not have gone for him as seriously as Sunderland, but at the same time, if we're able to compete for these guys and be able to get us some of them, then I think that suggests to me that we do have a lot of ambition for this coming season. And hopefully we don't view it as just trying to stay up. We view it as trying to re-establish ourselves. Now, we can't be naive to the fact that there's a chance we will get relegated. But at the same time, if we do, we're at least going to hopefully, I trust this lot to cover ourselves to make sure that we're not financially screwed. Like, let's say, they're not financially screwed, but someone like Leicester, for example, where they've spent big and when they got relegated in 2023, they didn't, a lot of their players didn't anticipate that they would get relegated because they thought they would be too good to go down effectively and didn't have as many release clauses and stuff like that. So we need to protect ourselves in that sense, but we also view it at the same time as we want to reestablish ourselves and kick on, like really kick on. So that's a really good thing. So as for Reynaldo, I think it's a really good. I think on in principle and on paper at least, it does seem a very very good signing. But we'll wait and see. Rank says Diarra and Reynaldo will both miss about a month around late December and into January for AFCON. Ian says, feels weird spending so much money on a player when we are used to spending $1 million on a player then developing them. Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Premier League, isn't it? Ian also says, we must prioritise 25 plus million on a winger who brings all the package. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think we could do with it, especially on the right-hand side. Harvey says, to be honest, if we go into the season with Patrick Roberts starting, any hope of survival will be gone. We haven't had any serious links to a right winger yet. No, that's true. We just got to wait and see because one will come up. Just depends when. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the height of the squad? Well, I think we could do with a bit of physicality and a bit of height in there. So I think the more we have in it, the better. Right now, I wouldn't say we have it in absolute abundance, but obviously there's a hope we can have a lot more of it in the near future. Tom, Ahmad coming back to the Sol for United this season will be interesting. Yep, that is very true. I know there are a few fans that have tried to talk about the idea of Ahmad coming back, but it ain't that. I'd be very surprised if it does happen, but I'd love to be proven wrong. Is the preseason will determine whether the current players will make the team. Then we've gone from getting Alan Brown on a free in the Championship to getting Reynaldo from Atletico Madrid on a free in the Premier League. We are back, baby. Hopefully. SJ, we need to cover there as Sirkin is constantly pulling up with some injury. No worries, Edward, if you're about being late. Don't worry, it's totally fine. Ranks Diarra. Oh, yeah, mate. Then, and it's nice that Reynaldo has gone from red and white to red and white. Yeah, I didn't think about that, actually. I'd like to give Patterson a chance in the West Ham and Burnley matches. Depends if we sign anyone else up until that point. Depends if we get a good goalkeeper, or as in we sign another goalkeeper. So we shall see. We shall see. Bong, how you doing, my friend? All right, Michael, how are you doing? What do you reckon on Guendouzi? I would absolutely have him, but I'd be very surprised if he arrived. Adam says if we can get good money for some of the Deadwood players we have and get some quality in. Yeah, if we can, I think I would agree with that. That'd be quite nice. I thought Bischoff was that potential winger. It's all gone quiet on him. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, won't we? I mean, there was links with it, but it seems to have quietened down a bit. Come on, we've got 49 likes. Let's see if we can get to 50. How come on, or even try maybe push to 75. Who knows? Let's see. Paul Graham, can we not play Diarra on the left? On the left, not if you mean left of a midfield three, possibly. Ant is here, Leicester fan, and obviously, for those of you who don't know, about a year ago, me and Ant were doing content on this channel quite regularly, not just doing the Championship review stuff when both Leicester and Sunderland were in the same division, but also even when Leicester got promoted last summer, we were still doing like a show just talking about our respective clubs and just talking about general crap in football, really. But it's good to see that he's here. Let's see. Even if we did sign Bulker, Pattel will definitely start the first few games. Jeffrey Little Doula, right? I like that. Sirkin could be off to Spurs. We don't know. Yeah, maybe to help with PSR. It could certainly help us out a bit. And says Victor Christensen would look great in red and white. Now, apparently, he's not very good. So no thanks. If he's not very good, then no thank you. Harvey 925 says, how much could you see us spending, Michael? We are in a great position in terms of PSR. Good question. I'd suspect between 100 and 150 million if we really wanted to. I think we will spend around 100. Well, put it this way, we've already spent 30 plus on Diarra, and obviously, but again, bearing in mind, we've got Job and Watson fees to sort of offset what we're spending a bit, and we still should be able to lose quite a fair amount of money over the last couple of seasons. So I'd say around 100 and 120 is what I could see us spending. Then Guendouzi could be Prem version of getting Lafay in the Championship. Labrie could be key for making this happen. I hope so. Ian says, I think we should take a player or two from Leon's team. They're good players on staying with them in League 2. Yep, that's fair enough. I would go for that as well. SJ wouldn't want Victor. He was terrible. Will Allen, spend average is 143 mil per club. Then says, Ernst, Newmar, Ghanaian winger from Leon on the right wing could be a shout. I think we'll go crazy this season, and next season we'll sell Rig and Pato to cover this season and keep us safe in PSR. Could see that happening. And Anne says, I could see you spending 175 million. Wow. It's funny because I'm used to seeing Sunderland, like if you look in League One, we barely paid fees for players, really, like more than $1 million, which you're not going to in League One, I get it. But even the first 2 seasons in the Championship, or even across all 3, we didn't pay a massive amount for players in terms of fees. And now all of a sudden, it's ridiculous. But that's the way the Prem is. We have to do that, don't we? Evan 05 says, "Who do you think you should go for if we don't get? Who do you think we should go for if we don't get Bulker? Any other keepers you like?" Well, the one I would have gone for would have been we don't talk about Will Grigg. But yeah, Evan, who do I think we should go for? Well, the one I wanted was Kelleher from Liverpool, but he's gone for Brentford. So of course we'll wait and see. And friends, just put you and Sean up front. No, if you put me up front for the opposition, Sunderland will win. Or put me in goal for the opposition. If Sunderland don't score double figures, they're disappointed. Hermanson from Leicester, decent keeper. I think Ant's going to fight you on that one thing, but that'll be quite funny in the comments. And speaking about it, he says, and is Ballard. Yeah, Ant does not like Coventry, so he was very appreciative of the fact that we beat Coventry on the way to going up. But yeah. And then, right, quickly on Diarra, Habib Diarra, let's talk about that. Leeds fans have got their backups quite a bit, actually, over this. They seem to have gone from the fact that they wanted him, and I know that they probably wouldn't have gone as high as what we have, but let's not kill ourselves. They did want him. I think then also they've went from Sunderland have overspent to, is he really that good? I don't know. I really don't know. But either way, look, Diarra, I think, considering he was another one who had quite a few clubs after him, I think that it's good to see that we're trying to, the reaction to this has been quite interesting. And from a lot of people going, hang on, Sunderland have managed to get someone like Diarra or whatever it is. But either way, and yeah, SJ says they're pretending he's not that good now. Not all these fans, obviously. There's a couple of really decently. Me and Ant know one called Carl Levy, who's a fantastic guy and really, really sensible Leeds fan. But a number of them particularly on social media, because that's all I've got the gauge of, a number of them are pretending now he isn't good for some reason. So, look, I think we wouldn't have spent that on Diarra if we didn't see something in him. And it could be that if we get relegated, then it would be he leaves in a year's time, and he still has 4 years left on his contract, and we are in a fantastic position to go and sell him on. And of course, even if we manage to stay in the Premier League, so I've put a pillow behind me back there. Even if we stay in the Premier League somehow, manage to stay up, then we'll be able to. Even if he does go, we'll be able to command even more of a fee, or he'd be able to really develop in next season. And even if, say, we stayed in the Prem for a few years and then, say, in 2 years' time he left, we're still in a good position to command a good fee for him. So I'm quite excited by that one. I mean, I haven't, again, like with Reynaldo, I've not seen a thing about them. I've not seen them play whatsoever. But I think all of this stuff but I think these signings encourage me a bit. And remember, like I said, we're doing pretty much what I said we were going to do, which is you're going to sign quality players from abroad because the English market is stupid and it is ridiculous. So this one, I'm keen to see how it pans out. But yeah, like I said, as for whether he's going to be good or not, time will tell. I have no idea at the moment. Paul goes, the goalie I'd go for is the one from Stoke. Victor Hansen isn't a bad shout, no. Etienne Lemire says, Party, free agent. I would have him in a heartbeat. Dane says, wasn't Party mentioned a while back, but it was a joke or something. For free, could do worse. Could certainly do worse. I know there was a bit of controversy around him, though, a while back, wasn't there? But I can't, unless I'm making that up. Ian Brown. Let Jan and Via birthday today. How did Ndong start over him? How do we sign Ndong over in Via? That's still one of the things that annoys me. And says Mads is going West Ham 35 million apparently. Coffee Goblin, imagine deadline day if we go for Ahmad again. Don't. Just don't. Things is what I am. SJ, they're pretending it's not that good now. Mark Wilkins, am I right? But with PSR, the fact we spent £30 million on Diarra, but with it being a 5-year contract, only counts as £6 million for this current season PSR. I think that's right. I think that's how it works anyway. Dane says, they say Diarra will flop, but they think a midfielder from Belgium is better. Ian says, it's a huge £35 million gamble, but he's 21 with a lot of room to improve. And this is what we know for Brighton wanted him as well. If Brighton wanted him, then he must be decent. He must be decent. Adam says, what are your thoughts on the fixtures, mate? Are you happy with the start? Come back to me when we've played them, and then I'll tell you if we have liked them or not. Come on, we've got 143 people watching. That is absolutely mental. Cheers, guys. Thanks to everyone who is watching. So if you can get the like button, hit the like button. And if there is anyone watching that isn't subscribed, hit the sub button. Absolutely free. Doesn't cost a penny, as Joe Middleton says. Let's see if we can get to around 90 likes at the moment. We're not far off 75 likes, which I said before. I was going to say 75k, but I'm like, I bloody wish that's the case. Adam, at some point we will have more French players in our team than English players. Hopefully we will sign some English players. That would be most appreciated, to be fair. Jim, Leeds United offered to match the 30 million bid Sunderland table for Strasbourg for attacking midfielder Habib Diarra, according to the Guardian journalist Ed Aarons. I know there was a Leeds Connor who I spoke to, who is a Leeds fan, said something like that Ed Aarons apparently backtracked when he said it. I'm like, well, he didn't really. All he said was that Leeds said that they didn't make a second bid. Leeds could be saying that to make themselves look better. So we don't know for definite that they didn't go in for with a second bid. I do like Connor though. Respect to you if you are somehow watching this. Then I've only seen Diarra for Senegal, but I've seen Reynaldo in the Champions League a few times. He seems decent. Jim, however, the Senegal international will be not joining the Ellen Road Club and has opted to sign for the Black Cats. And says Thomas Partey, otherwise known as Unnamed 32 from London. Ian, looks like Burnley and Leeds are getting sucked into the Championship market with Sargent, Ahmed Hozic, etc. I wouldn't have complained with Sargent, but obviously if we can get better quality from foreign leagues elsewhere, then I'm all for it. Anna Brown, hope you're doing all right, my dear. Hope you're doing all right. The model has been upgraded. Evening, by the way. Yeah, evening to you, my friend. Evening to you. And yes, the model looks like it has been upgraded. Almost like I said it would be once money starts coming in. Hannah was always on agreement with me there, to be fair, though. So we were both kind of saying, look, we do believe the model will work and there will be good things about it. So we'll see either way how it translates to the Premier League. Then Twansby on a free for Burnley tells you everything about them. Yeah, I suppose it does, doesn't it? I mean, obviously the signings they've made, permanent ones. I believe there's a young goalkeeper they've signed, but most of them have been, Jaden Anthony and Marcus Edwards level. And who's the guy who had from Millwall? Zian Fleming. I believe they've signed all of them permanently, so I don't know. So I don't think they've signed anybody new in outfield yet. That's cost them money. Dortmund. Brighton knew Tommy Watson was good before I did, and I was watching him every week. Yeah, that's true. SJ, they'll be buying them as a contingency plan. Ian, yeah, that's true. Harvey, I could see us spending another £30 million on another player. I've seen something we could spend up to £200 million before PSR will be a concern. With the likes of Guendouzi, I'm thinking that something will just pop up. Let's hope so. Let's see. Oh, okay. John Nesbitt, as far as I'm concerned, it's all positive. These players are far better than we have right now. Plenty more coming in. Got great times ahead for our fans. Yep, and we deserve it more than most do. Disillusioned. What's your thoughts on Bennett? Never seen him play, but if he signs, all the better if he's good. Ant says, you should get Hadji right. It would be nice to play in front of more than 100 people. Anyone who knows Ant knows that he is a wind-up merchant, and it is quite funny, I must admit. Hannah Brown, it's now the ambitious project. Yeah, well, like I've said, Sunderland should be ambitious as a club. We should be able to attract players. And quickly, Ant was actually praising our us for having more of a proper go than Leicester did last season. So fair play to Ant for that. Hopefully, actually, Ant, quickly, how do you feel? Being serious, how do you feel about the coming season? It looks like Leicester are going to get Danny Roll, and I think if that happens, even if it with a 12 points deduction potentially, I think Leicester get playoffs at minimum. I don't think you quite have enough for top two if it's like a minus 12 points deduction, but I still think you'll have enough for playoffs. Leicester Coventry in the semis, that'd be good. Ian Browns. Pedro saved his career going to Chelsea instead of going to them. Geordie, you know what? Evan, is there any player that you look at would be going for? Just a genuine question based on opinion. What is one player you'd like to sign? One player would like us to sign. I would have liked to see us go for Liam Delap before he went to Chelsea, but obviously that ain't happening now. Oh, who would I want to sign? Possibly Oscar Bob from Man City, but that again is based on word of mouth, so we'll have to see. But I would imagine, how many times have I said we'll have to see? We'll have to see how many times we'll say we'll have to see. No, apparently Oscar Bob could be available for a loan possibly, so that would probably make sense. And I believe that he plays in the same position as Ahmad did, so who knows? Just think potentially 16 to 17 for Llorente, 16 to 70 million pound for Vannet, bulk of 15 million if it happens. Hopefully all three of them happen and we sign all three, mate, on top of the two that look like we're going to get. Ranks. Sargent would be a dream for me, but he can't stay fit for a full season. If he could stay fit for most of the season, I would go for Sargent in a heartbeat. But the problem is, and Norwich, by the way, have every right to ask for a lot of money because he's a really good player. He's the best striker in the Championship, or at least last couple of seasons he has been, or certainly up there. But his injury record is what I wouldn't be surprised if it keeps him at Norwich because I think that'll put quite a few people off. Dear Walks, it looked like Bulker will go to Saudi thing, according to most on Twitter. Took the easy way out, hasn't he? Ian says the squad will only improve. It's great to have that thought, hopefully. Then the dream signing for me would be Guendouzi. Who's the other one? Anne says we're apparently getting minus 6 points, but we'll also still have £45 million to spend. I think we'll come straight back up. You should do, to be fair. But yeah, I think you at least get fourth or fifth. Hannah Brown, we have 2-3 coming in. I'm on top of the fee. Bulk would be amazing, but he's chosen greed over ambition. Yep, it looks like so. Mark says, so Leicester get a 12-point penalty, but Man City get fines. Yeah. Jim says, we're building Sunderland 2.0. Thane, isn't Oscar Bob available for £21 million? We need an upgrade on Roberts. Why not? And Anthony says, Real Madrid have said Gonzalo Garcia is not moving, so he looks off the table. I never thought that would probably happen anyway. And says, reason Sargent is still at a club like Norwich is because of his injury record. Yeah, that's probably quite accurate. That's why I've said I wouldn't be shocked if Norwich did keep Sargent for that very reason. And so, goodness knows, we shall see. But yeah, hang on, Thane. Unfortunately, but I'm just hoping that Romano comes in last minute and says he's turned them down to join our ambitious project. Well, the one thing that does give us slight hope with Bulka, even though I think at this point he probably is off to Saudi land, unfortunately, is the fact that he... Let me see if I can find it very quickly. But someone basically put a tweet out. Somebody basically put a tweet out saying Sunderland had agreed a fee. Hang on, let's have a look. So, oh man, where is it? I quoted it not long ago. That was it there. So, let me see if I can get it up. So, obviously, I'll translate the post so it's in English. But this is the bit here. So, it's from WLO-85. So, that's what it put there. Hang on. There it is. That's the English version. Sunderland has reached an agreement with Nice on the amount for Marcin Bulka. It is over 15 million euros. The clubs are still working out the details. It is not finalised yet, but close. He is also tempted by Saudi Arabia. The decision will be on Bulka's side. And then Fabrizio Romano replied to that with that. So I don't know. The only thing that gives us hope with Bulka at the minute is that Fabrizio Romano replying to that tweet, that specific one, which is the closest to saying that it looks like it could still happen for Sunderland. I know he hasn't said that Sunderland could still sign him. Obviously, we could, but I mean, he hasn't said Sunderland will sign him. But Fabrizio Romano responded to that. That's the only thing that gives me a smidgen of hope with him. But if I'm honest, I don't think. But I accept that I am probably looking far too much into that. Let's go for some more comments again. Then unfortunately, but I'm hoping that Fabrizio Romano. Oh yeah, sorry, turns out probably SJ. Sorry, I'm mumbling to myself as usual. Come on, we'll get to 100 likes. How have we done that in less than 45 minutes? Wow, that's incredible. Cheers, guys. Thanks to everyone who's watching. That's incredible. SJ, it'll be the usual yo-yoing between the usual clubs again. Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester, and the usual playoff crew. Well, glad we're not in the championship this season, mate, and hopefully we won't be for quite some time. Or League One or below, by the way. We'll see. Thing, maybe the Gizolfi connection from Nice as well. Hannah says, screams volumes that little old plucky Sunderland are attacking better players than Burnley, Leeds, and the unwashed lot. SJ, a handshake. Predator Cat, that's a nice name, I like it. Think the owners learnt a big lesson after Beale's season, going for it now. Maybe that 6 months could be the best thing that happened to us in hindsight. We don't know yet. Saying Fabrizio Romano knows something. I hope so. I hope so, my friend. Ian, we are still trying to sign him, but they say the Saudi club have the upper hand. Yeah, it just all depends on who we. It just depends on who you believe, doesn't it? 105 likes, goodness me, and we've still got over 100 people watching. Thanks to everybody. Hopefully, you're hearing me all right, but it sounds like you are because I haven't heard anything or in the comments yet about the sound quality. He doesn't say who with. Billions of pounds being the upper hand. Well, if Saudis have the upper hand, then yeah, it'll be something along the lines of multi thousands more pounds. SFC Nashi, with this super team we are building, is Champions League winners 2027 off the table? No, absolutely not. Paul Graham, great show as normal, matey. Thanks very much, Paul, and thanks for constantly keeping up to date with us. It's really nice. It's good to see that people seem to enjoy these live streams. And about attracting, not attacking. Ian, Tommy Watson is the reason we all have this ambition and availability. Don't forget that. That is true, but he could still sign a contract with us. But I am appreciative of the fact that he helped us get promoted. Then says, sounds perfect, mate. John is, SJ, Ballard is the reason. And I love that. John Nesbitt, still need to sign that quality striker, guys, he says in capital letters. Jonathan Arnold, how many strikers do you think you need to say we need to sign, mate? I think we need to get one. I don't know whether it's someone who would come straight into the starting 11 and would be the main guy up front, or whether it's someone like a Welbeck or a Vardy or a Calvert-Lewin, just for someone to Mayenda to learn off, and Mayenda eventually becomes the main striker. I don't know how Sunderland are going to approach this, but I would say probably one. I don't think we really need. For once, it's nice to see striker is not the main priority in terms of positions. It definitely will help if we can sign better quality, but it's not as essential as what it has been in previous summer windows. On my end, Jerry. All right, my friend, how you doing? We need players who want to play for the club with ambition, not the pay packet Saudi can have him. Yeah, well, if he's only bothered about if he's bothered me, and I don't get me wrong, I understand that the money does talk, but at the same time, at Sunderland in the Premier League, he wouldn't have been on pittance, and I think footballers need to remember that because football is in its own unique sort of bubble when it comes to finances and when it comes to wage packets and stuff. So yeah, it would be. Let's hope Bulker comes, but at the minute, I'm not expecting it. I've already gone past my anger stage with that at the moment. Not at the club, but anger at Bulker for not choosing here. Ryan, so would you take Kiefer Moore, mate? Not a chance now. In the Championship, maybe, but not now. Let's see. Thane. Just thinking, we didn't hijack Burnley's move for Ballard in our first Championship season. We might not be here. Yeah, that is very true. And would you take Vardy on a one-year deal? I'm probably in the minority here, but yes, I would take him for a one-year deal. I think he's a fantastic player for my end to learn off, and I think he could still contribute half a dozen goals in the Prem, even if he doesn't start every week. So I think my personal feeling, I would rather Danny Welbeck, but if you sign Jamie Vardy on a free, I wouldn't complain with that in the slightest. He says, bring Welbeck back, but he's still banging in goals. Absolutely. Coffee Goblin, a Welbeck would be good experience on a free. That's what I suspect. If we're not going to spend a load of money on a player, unless it's like Vanet from Ukrainian leagues, then it might be someone like a Welbeck or a Vardy or a Calvert-Lewin who has Premier League experience but would be available for free. I mean, obviously the wages, it's not free really. You've got a signing on fee, agent's fee, the wage increase and stuff like the wages and stuff like that. But in terms of a fee, it wouldn't cost you anything. John Esmond, Mayenda is going to do really well next season. I really hope he is. I think Mayenda, like we said before, I think Mayenda's growth and his acceleration has been utterly mental. How he's been able to, if you look a year ago, not many people would have seen him being the outright beast that he is right now. And it's really good to see. Paul Graham, Welbeck for me, he knows the club too. That also will help. Shouldn't need to settle back in, really. Jack Asbury, hello, my friend. Good friend of mine, Jack, says, Sunderland beat other Premier League clubs to a signature. Really love when the journalists slip this little tidbit in. I hope so. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I completely agree. Jonathan Arnold, Welbeck, and get Vardy too. The only veteran striker I would take is Welbeck, but personally, I think it's going to be Vanet or no striker. SJ says, Bulker is harming his career, though. You can understand if he was in his mid-30s, not in the prime of his career. Poland apparently won't be happy with him going to a desert league. Desert league. I like that. I really like that. KTM says, I'll take Vardy and Welbeck, and Henderson need a deep squad, especially the Xmas period. Yep, that is very true. Well, we know, especially from the Championship, obviously, that it can be they can be pretty bad there in that regard, but obviously there's more fixtures, but it's not, the opponents aren't quite as difficult in that sense, whereas the Prem's going to be ginormously complicated. Ian, since we bought a £30 million plus player, I expect 2, 3 plus 20 million plus players. Edward Young, I have very little knowledge of the foreign players, but hopefully they can come to terms with the Prem quickly. Yep, absolutely, mate. Like I said, I think we would always go for that sort of market just because of the fact that the English market is inflated. One player I said at the start of the window that I wouldn't be surprised if someone went for would have been somebody like someone like Ben Doak from Liverpool who was on loan at Borough, but apparently the fee was like 30 million that was being quoted, which is mentally ridiculous. So yeah, for stuff like that, I don't think we would have been. I don't think. I lost track of what I was saying there, but yeah. So oh yeah, so yeah. I mean, obviously, a lot of the foreign players, it offers better value for money, doesn't it? So I wouldn't be. The only way I see us signing players from the Prem or English players is if we went for someone like, say, Simon Adingra from Brighton, for example, who has a year left on his contract. I could see something like that happening then, but right now, no, probably not. Not for players who are on long contracts in the Prem anyway. Oh dear. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think I might head off in the next 10 minutes. But either way, and I know SJ is going to be particularly disappointed, but yeah. Let's see. What else is there? I'd rather bring in a striker who knows Gizolfi well, says Ian. Anna, we can spend another £100 million and not be in trouble. Ian, and what is he capable of? Sorry, what he is capable of. Then that Saudi club Neon are stupid because they want Bulka and a Brazilian keeper from Leon. I'm pretty sure you can only have one foreign keeper in the Saudi Pro League. Maybe we might go for the Leon keeper if Bulka goes to Saudi. He shouldn't really. He should be going to Sunderland, but there you go. Acacia, I wonder when the club will announce their new players. Probably some point early this week, I'd imagine. Early this coming week. Let's see. Anne says he's Scouse, not English, though. Yeah, he's been playing for a club in England, though. Yeah, if you're talking about Ben Doak, anyway. John Nesbitt, this guy who's come in of Speakman certainly knows his stuff. All good for me, absolutely. Etienne says, what about Jay Dan's story? Jay Dan's, what about his story? I don't think I've heard anything about that. Probably next week, Acacia, when players come back from holidays. Hannah, Acacia probably on Tuesday. Acacia then says, as that Andy bloke said in a couple of hours, it's going to be confirmed about Diarra. SJ 10 p.m. Not a chance, mate. I'm way too tired for that. Acacia says, no, Hannah, probably Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Bill Baybridge, Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free transfer. Again, I wouldn't complain with it as a free transfer, but I know I might be in a minority on that. Hannah Brown, new kits and signings this week. SCFC nationally, are they holding off the announcements until the kit release? Who knows? Yeah, this is Sunderland we're talking about, so I wouldn't rule anything out. I would not be surprised in the slightest. Exactly, and this team got about 5,000 fans when he could play in front of 45,000+ every home game. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a shame. Like I said, I get that people choose money and they want to give themselves the best chance for after they finish playing. But it's not like Sunderland are going to be offering pittance, is it? It's not like we're going to be offering pennies and barely offering any competitive wages. So to me, I think that doesn't sit well with me per se directly, but we'll see. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else that's happened, but I don't think there is. No, I didn't think so. All right. Acacia, not a chance. Bill Calvert-Lewin won't sign as he's too injury prone. Calvert-Lewin literally gets injured every week into a matched game. Yeah, it certainly seems like every time that I watch Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that he's always seems to be some problem with an injury or some discrepancy or some sort of discomfort for him. So I don't know. Me personally, like I said, someone like Welbeck. If I'd say Welbeck first choice, Vardy second choice, Calvert-Lewin third choice. Personally, that's probably what I'd love to do. But whether the club view it enough that way to view it, then we'll see. I'm going to try. My eyes are starting to droop. Yeah, I'm going to try and stay on until the hour mark. So we'll get. So if you got anything else, if you got any quick questions to ask us, then fire them away in the chat. Because obviously we've got like 7.5 minutes until an hour. Maybe they're on holiday, out for a triple announcement, an improvement on the Cabral reversion to Kite announcement. Holden scuff. Who knows? Imagine that though. What was it when we signed like 14 players that one window? Goodness me. David Walker, them three were crap though, Thane. Yeah, what time to be alive that was, wasn't it? Goodness knows. But yeah, I mean, look, the transfer window is starting to heat up now, and I think once we get into July, then which is obviously on Tuesday, then so basically in the next 28 hours, in 28 hours time, something like that, or 29 hours, we are going to start to see things really start to heat up and really start to progress, and that's the hope anyway. From what I've heard, apparently we want a lot of our signings done before the season starts. Obviously, we're not going to get them all done because we never know who could become available later on in the window. But at the same time, you've got to be looking at doing as much as you can as quickly as you can. Right, hang on. Well, something's been. Lauren, from one of my mates, has just sent something, but I think it's to do with Newcastle and Pedro. Newcastle have bid 50 million plus. Oh God, yeah. Someone account called Villa Watch that takes the mick out of the mags. Yeah, that's quite fun. It is quite sad, but it is quite funny at the same time. Paul Graham, Modric on a free, dare to dream. Haha. Yeah, I think the wages would probably put that a bit out of reach. There's this wrong emoji as well. Stupid phone, just so excited at the moment. When Thane's excited, you know something's happening. Ian, who's your ideal winger to sign for the club? Well, probably there's either Luis Llorente or Oscar Bob, I would imagine. Well, the ideal one would be Ahmad, but I've said before that I'd be very, 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 very shocked if he signed for us this summer. I really would. I just don't see why he'd leave Man United when he's playing there regularly. And I think whatever Man United's levels at recently, there were probably a 99% chance of finishing above us, I reckon. So I don't see Ahmad coming here, unfortunately. As much as I would absolutely love it and adore it to happen, I'd be absolutely astonished if he did come here. But Ahmad would be my ideal one, but maybe Oscar Bob and Lorente is probably who I would love to get on both sides if we were signing a winger on both ends. So I believe Oscar Bob can play in the Ahmad position and can play right mid, but I could be wrong on that one. Then that's what I said on improvement. Fair enough. SJ, I wonder who's second on the list for a keeper. Probably another foreign one. I would imagine that Gizolfi and Speakman would have had a lot of targets to sort of aim around. Maybe Iva Himrovic at the bottom of the list to reference Sunderland until I die. But seriously, though, yeah, I'd imagine that they won't have just been looking at Bulker. He would have been first choice, but they would have had other players like, well, if we can't get him, he's a very good option to have. Ian Brown, when are the players in training? Is the start of this week, I think? We'll wait and see. Ryan says, when are you doing another one of these days? I'm assuming you mean live streams, in which case probably next weekend at some point. I tend to do one of these a week, just so we can just have a little chat. Well, have me chat to myself, but have people send me comments. So, which is always appreciated, by the way. It's a staggering one, but yes, thank you very much. Let's see. In the forum league, I'll probably tell one of his entry. Modric, she'll be in SJ. Modric, she'll be in a similar frame. God, he'll be old enough. Thane, I did say I wanted 2 or 3 in before preseason, and they're delivering, so fair play. Yep, Thane, we always know Thane's someone who saying, "Oh no, it's too slow, it's too slow, it's too slow," stuff like that. And yeah, but to be fair, he's not the only one. I think I'm impatient with a lot of these things. I want them confirmed as soon as possible for peace of mind. Thane, did I? Hang on, let's see. Thane, break our record for a 3rd time on Ahmad, mate. Don't. Just done it. Don't give us hope, please. It's like what Hawkeye says in Endgame. Don't give me hope. Ian Buzz. Hannah, Ian, last week for players coming back. I'm assuming you mean this coming week. Ian, so I thought we started business a couple of days before the window ends. SCFC Nashi, why can't we get Ahmad? If they get Mubemo and they push Ahmad further back, one last dance, Ahmad. Hey, I hope so. I really hope so. They paid 40 million for Ahmad. They probably want 60 now. They didn't pay 40 million, I don't think. I think when they signed him, it was like 25 million, but it was 4.5 years ago, if I remember correctly. John Nisbet says, sell rate, get Ahmad in, no-brainer for me. Dortmund, has Gizolfi been announced? No. And SJ says, no. David Walker, Ahmad is on over 100k a week, so no way we are paying anyone that much this season. Then they were waiting until he gets his work permit. It's pretty much done. You can settle with our business. Mark Wilkins says, why not put a cheeky 20 million pound in for George Dobson and bring him home? Is he at Wrexham now? I'm sure he's still at Wrexham. And if so, he's not going to play in the Championship, that's for sure, I don't think. But I could be wrong. Fair play to Dobson if he does manage to do that. SCFC Nashi, Dave Walker, now he's adopted McAmey pay for free. And Bong says, Diallo's seen at the Stadium Light, but it's just because he loves being at his second home to relax. I love it. Ian Brown says, we're in a strong financial position. We can buy as much as we want, more or less. Again, it would all depend on what our PSR financial position is and what we can be willing to spend, pretty much. Ian Brown, Stephen Fletcher on a free. No. Yorkshire Macam, looks like we're getting that lad from Atletico Madrid. Yep, it looks like Fabrizio Romano said it. Everyone's pretty much, quite a number of outlets have said it, so it looks all but done, as does Habib Diarra. John Nesbitt, we definitely need a big centre back, but only if he's quality. Well, hopefully, imagine if we've got like Bulker, Singo, Lorente, and Oscar Bob, for example. Just get all of them. Why not? Just throw everything together. Right, guys, we're about a minute and a half away from when I think I'm going to head off. Like I said, guys, I'm starting to go like this, and nobody wants to watch me snooze. As he John Mark Wilson says, Ian Brown and McLean. Ian Brown, where's Janna's eye these days? Yes, McLean. Hannah Brown, our PSR is fantastic. Once again, we can spend £200 million before getting into trouble. I think what we've got to remember quickly is that Speakman's talking about signings over the next 5 years, where if, say, we spunk money and, really overspend this window, then it could come back to bite us in a couple of years' time. So we've got to be very careful what we do end up doing. But, but at the same time, look, this is why I reckon we kind of held back a little bit, not too much, but within enough reason in the Championship. And especially in League One and especially the Championship, because we thought if we get the Prem, our PSR situation will be much better, and as such, we can sign the players that will help try and keep us in the league. Let's even quickly try to get 120 likes. Come on, before the stream finishes, another 8 likes. Yorkshire is unfortunate. Goalkeepers going to the Saudi leagues, which is unfortunate. Who wants to live in Saudi Arabia? Anna. And says you should get Harwood Bellis. Could do worse. I wouldn't complain with him. Thane says, I've just seen Reynaldo turn down offers from Turkey and Saudi Arabia to come here. Are you watching Bulk Up? Yep, absolutely, Thane. I completely agree with you on that, my friend. SJ says, do it, David Blaine. See how long you can stay awake for. No. I love your enthusiasm, but no. Right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. Ian Brown says, Howard Bellis is a good shout for man. Guys, thanks ever so much to everybody who is watching. Sorry. Thanks to everybody who has watched. It's really, really appreciated. And it's great to see so many people tonight really wanted to sort of watch me waffle on. But yeah, Howard Bellis or Callum Doyle. Wouldn't complain at either thing. Take care, Jacob. Paul, thank you very much. Phil, thanks, guys. And like I said, one last time, if you're somehow watching this and not a regular sub, please hit the subscribe button. I don't like asking, but I'm trying to get a 6K. I'm like something like 65 subs away or something like that from 6,000. I'll quickly check before I head off. But it's six. Oh, blimey. Okay, we've gone up a few subs. Right. Thank you to those few people who have subbed. I've gone to 5,940, 60 subs away from 6K. Come on, let's get it done. But yeah, thanks, guys, to everyone, and I will see you all next weekend. Take care, everyone, as I say. Stay safe, and for the last time for tonight, how away the lads. Come on, we can get some signings in and let's stay up this season. Take care, everyone.